Board Rep.
Rachel West, Southfield High School Student Representative.
Wanda Cook Robinson, Superintendent.
Debbie Trump, Associate Superintendent for Administrative Services.
Linda Wood, Associate Superintendent for Instruction.
David Turner, Associate Superintendent for Human Resources and Information.
And we have with us Ms. Nicole Christian, who will be keeping record of tonight's meeting. We're just going to move right to the student reps, and when Jerry, this time Rachel West, Rachel West from Southfield, you go first.
The Princeton Review sponsored a free practice APT for all interested students. More than 120 students participated. A free scores back session will take place this Thursday to review the test and to provide relevant test-taking strategies. Spirit Week was a success during the week of September 17th. The theme for homecoming was Don't Call It a Comeback. Every day the students were allowed to participate in Spirit Week events, which varied from TV character days to music and video game themes throughout the week. Students also participated in trivia contests during lunch hour. The fall sports pep rally, sponsored by the Southfield Student Congress, took place in the gym on September 23rd. The boys varsity football team defeated Stony Creek on September 30th, 14-7. DECA sponsored a breast cancer awareness Denim and Pink Day on October 7th. Their total amounted to $1,057, and on Saturday, October 15th, they will be participating in the annual breast cancer walk at Belle Isle. The monthly Lathrop PTSA meeting will be held on October 17th from 5 to 8 p.m. in the school's library and will feature local colleges, including the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, Open University, Grand Valley State University, Wayne State University, Kettering, Eastern Michigan University, the University of Detroit, Baker College, Beck Howard, the Art Institute, as well as the Army, Navy, and Marines. If 100 students and parents attend the college fair and PTSA meeting, a free dress day will be awarded to the students. More schools will be added when the commitment is authorized. Students and parents from throughout the school district are more than welcome to attend. Parent-teacher conferences are October 27th from 3:30 to 5:30 and 6:30 to 8:30 in the SL Gymnasium. The National Honor Society will be conducting their annual Halloween Boo Rah on October 28th. The event hosts Halloween-related activities for kids ages 4 to 13. A portion of the proceeds will be donated to the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society. NHS is also taking a stand for blood cancer awareness in the Cancer Bites campaign. In donating, students and families are supporting life-saving research and helping patients. Scholars Plus Junior inductions are October 25th in the Southfield Library. Meat testing begins October 19th for the current 9th graders. Boys basketball trials will run all this week. In the Southfield the Southfield will be participating in the Youth Diversity Symposium taking place on Friday, October 21st at Hope United Methodist Church. Last but not least, the Southfield Marching Band performed during the Focus Hope Parade in Detroit on Sunday, October 9th. They are also participating in the MSBOA competition in Royal Oak today, October 11th, as we speak. That's my report.
And next we have Senator Peters from Southfield High.
On Friday, October 7, 2011, Southfield High School students had a dress down day because to date we have not had one physical altercation. On October 19th, freshmen will take the speech test, while sophomores will be taking the plan test. Juniors and seniors will participate in career day activities. Principal Council members will attend the Youth Diversity Symposium at Hope United Methodist Church on Friday, October 21st from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. The varsity football team, the Southfield High School varsity football team was ranked number 6 in the state, and the freshman football team is currently undefeated. And another note, on a side note, all the parents, students, and staff can be very pleased with the new security procedures at Southfield High School. Southfield High School will have a pep rally Thursday, October 20th, 2011. And Southfield High School will host the Oakland Activities Association Principals Meeting on Thursday, October 20th. On Saturday, October 8th, the Southfield High School Marching Band competed in Robinson, Illinois, and took home the award Crowd Pleaser. The National Honor Society will begin after-school tutoring on tomorrow from 3 o'clock to 3:45 p.m. and the tutoring will be offered all subsequent Wednesdays.
Good evening.
In August, as you know, new principal to Stevenson Elementary, I was going through some emails and I came upon a contest from A Day Made Better. And the contest was called Surprise the Teacher Event. Host a Surprise the Teacher event at your school. So I decided to nominate Mrs. Sue Philbin. As you know, she was she won the Teachers of the Year from Southfield Public Schools last spring. And I thought it would be a great honor to surprise her, because what they do is they work with a store, Office Max, in the area, and they bring supplies for that teacher's classroom as a surprise assembly. So I kind of submitted the application and forgot about it. And in September, I think the first week of school, I received an email that we had been chosen and with contact information. So I called the guy from the Office Max, that was Jim Williamson, at the 14-mile and Orchard Lake location. And he was very excited. He said it'd be a lot of fun to do it as a school-wide assembly in elementary school. The kids get very excited when we bring supplies for the teacher. They showed up with approximately $1,100 worth of things for Mrs. Philbin's classroom, including a printer, digital camera, scientific calculator, a really nice office chair.
Even though I never sit down.
She wants everyone to know she never uses it because she's always on her feet teaching. And so we played it like a game show on count day. They wanted to come out on October 5th, and I thought, okay, we can do this and make it seem like it's going to be a really fun event. The hardest thing for me was to keep it quiet, because it really was meant to be a surprise, and they really wanted to see the surprise on her face. So the only person I told was the school secretary, Mrs. Kilgore, and then the day before I told the gym teacher, Mrs. Passon, because it was her gym that we were using. And she said all the teachers were asking, well, what's the assembly, what's the assembly? So we managed to keep a lid on it, and we were playing a game with the kids for count day and giving them prizes, which was a bag of chips or a dress-down coupon. So then I said, okay, we're going to call a teacher up, and we're going to give her a choice of prizes. So we called up Mrs. Philbin, and we said, Mrs. Philbin, would you like a bag of chips, a dress-down coupon, or what's behind curtain number 1? And we had the Office Max gentleman with all the things for her on the stage behind the curtain. So all the kids were going, 1, 1. So it was really cute. They got really into it, and she had no idea. So it was a really fun event. They also had a whole dolly handcart truck of 14 cardboard boxes literally filled with supplies just for the school as well. So that is not on the inventory sheet, and I don't even know how to inventory that, but I estimated it to be $800 to $1,000 of also more additional supplies. And we just kind of opened the boxes and laid them out in the office, and we let the teachers come down on their lunch and their prep hour, and it was like Christmas in October. Everything from highlighters to rulers and, just additional supplies, line paper, everything. They were very generous. So all the donations that Office Max brought us, we were very grateful for. Mrs. Philbin was kind enough to, with her class, create a really cute poster and a thank you letter, and she took that over to the Office Max location today to thank them. But it was really fun. We're hoping to see an article in the Southfield Sun next week, I think. The reporter did call me and called Mrs. Philbin, so I expect to see some pictures and a little story about that in the Southfield Sun in the next edition. So it was a really fun way to have count day and kick off the year, and the kids were very excited to see a teacher receive all of those things for the school. So we have a great deal of thanks for that Office Max and the Day Made Better Foundation. Mrs. Philbin, do you want to come up? She was hoping the prize I was going to offer was maybe a day off.
It definitely was a huge surprise. I'm very thankful to Sandy for arranging everything, because I know it's easy to pass those opportunities by sometimes. But obviously it worked out very well, and I was able to share, they bring in this huge box that was for me too, but obviously I was going to share that, so I took it to our faculty meeting yesterday and had everybody dig through and see what they needed. So
we really had a nice start with our school year, having all these extra supplies, because, as you know, there's really nothing extra when you're when you've got kids consuming things every day. So I'm very grateful to Sandy for putting this together.
Right.
Thank you. This is School Safety Week, and I want to share with the board and the community that we have had a number of outbreaks of contagious diseases in our K-8 schools. And I just wanted to assure parents that when that happens, we make sure that that child gets to the doctor. We also send out an alert by voicemail and email to parents, letting them know that there's an outbreak in the school. We send letters home, accompanied by instructions from the health department on how to deal with that disease and how to keep your child healthy. In addition, here in the district, under the supervision of Ms. Leslie Smith, the schools are infected and washed down. So we wanted to assure everyone that we are prepared, we notify the health department, and work very, very closely with them. In addition, I'm going to ask Dennis Gregory if you would come up to the podium and share some additional things that we're involved in during School Safety Week.
Thank you, Dr. Wanna-Cook Robinson. Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to kind of update everybody on our building security system. This was a system that we actually installed back in the fall of 2007 and actually implemented in January of 2008. And this is the fob reader system that restricted access to buildings throughout the district. This has been a great system. It is gave us better control of who has access to buildings and at what time. We did remove all the external locks except for a couple of locks in each building, in which there is only a small number of keys that certain people have. Actually, there's only 7 keys that certain people have to access these buildings. But it's been an excellent system. We're lucky to have it, and it works great. And we're going to continue to use it. It's cost very little to maintain it, and it's really helped a lot. The other system we have in place are the building cameras. We have a number of surveillance cameras inside and out all of our buildings, and I mean all of them. We almost have 600 cameras altogether. These cameras are key for investigating situations like sometimes thefts or broken windows or incidents that happen, and they've really been an asset to helping us find these things, not only for the security people, the local police departments, and also the principals as well. We have these are on DVRs, digital video recorders, in which we can go back and retrieve data or video and replay that particular event and see exactly what transpired and take the necessary action. This is something that's we continue to add cameras, and it's a really useful tool that we use throughout the district. I might add that we have cameras also in our closed buildings. We did not remove them when we closed those buildings. They are both inside and outside those buildings, and that has really helped also. We've been very fortunate. We haven't had too many incidents with those closed buildings, but I want to also thank not only the Southfield Police, but Southfield Lathrop Police as well for helping us patrol those buildings and make sure there's no any problems. I'd like to also talk a little bit about our new security company, Guardian Security, that we brought in last year to help us with our security issues inside the schools. We currently have, or we had 16 security guards in 10 of our buildings. They were both male and female, and they help the principals with particular incidents like building security, disruptive students, investigating situations that happen. Sometimes they help with parking and or traffic direction on the school property itself. But Guardian Alarm or Guardian Security has really been a great partner for us, and they've really stepped up to the plate. Their employees that they've provided for us have been professional, qualified, and very courteous. We've had very little turnover, and we look forward to continuing their services in the years to come. Transportation. A couple things about transportation. First of all, I want to tell you a couple facts here. From the Michigan Department of Education, do you know that in Michigan, over 850,000 students are transported daily on 17,000 school buses, and annually they rack up over 180 million miles. That's a lot of students, a lot of buses, and a lot of mileage there. Also, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and I'm going to quote them. They've stated that school buses are the safest form of transportation, and they mean that by saying that a student riding in a school bus is going to be 12 times safer than riding in your family car. So our buses are remarkably safe here in Southfield. Durham School Services has provided transportation services for the last 3 years and continue on this year providing our transportation services. Mechanics work for them, dispatchers, drivers, aides, and they do an excellent job. They've also offered us some concessions on their part to reduce some of our costs as well. And we really appreciate that. As you know, we're always facing a deficit year after year. So they've helped us out tremendously. But some of the things that maybe you know, maybe you don't know is we have 74 bus routes here in Southfield. We go to 37 different buildings or locations. Okay, we now not only go to our schools here in Southfield, we go to other programs outside Southfield and Oakland counties for our special needs students. Last year we used 131,000 gallons of fuel. And if you look at the pump, when you go to the pump to fill up your own vehicle, you see how the price goes up and down. Even though we get a little break on not having to pay tax, we still spent almost $400,000 for fuel last year. Another fact is we transport almost 4,000 students every single school day to and from school. That's a lot of students. We racked up last year over 840,000 miles. So our school buses are working every single day. They not only transport students to and from school, but they also transport them for field trips. They transport them for sports events and things of that nature. So that's why you might see a school bus on a weekend or late at night or somewhere else around either the state for special events. We had our annual state police inspection back in July, and this is something I'm very proud of. Once again, our mechanics, or I should say Durham's mechanics, it used to be our mechanics, did an excellent job. For the last 8 years in a row, we received 100% passing grade on the state police bus inspection. Now this is something that's unreal, because there's not many bus fleets that can boast about claiming that many years getting 100% or even getting 100%. State police bus inspection is a very, very detailed procedure. There are over 260 categories with a number of subcategories underneath those categories. The state police inspector that goes through each and every one of those items spends quite a bit of time for each and every bus. And what I mean by subcategories is the main category might be brakes, and then it gets broken down into brake linings, brake drums, brake adjusters, brake lines, air handling or air valves, and things of that nature. So all these items are inspected on each and every bus, and to get 100% is just fantastic. One other thing I'd like to bring to your attention is please mark your calendar for National School Bus Safety Week, which starts Monday the 17th and runs through the 21st, October 21st. Durham School Services will be conducting front door bus evacuations that week on all their bus routes. This is something that we do twice a year to get the students used to evacuating a bus safely and quickly in the event that we do have to do an evacuation. I might add that we don't evacuate a bus unless there's an absolute need to do that. If we were to have something smoking on the bus, or if it was in traffic in an area that might get hit, or something like that, or be in danger of tipping over or something, then we'd evacuate. But normally we keep the students on a bus because by far that is the best, safest place for them to be. One last thing, MAPT, Michigan Association for Pupil Transportation, just announced that they're having another school bus poster contest, and our students can participate in it. I think last year we had a couple students participate from MacArthur and won some real nice savings bonds. This contest, the details have been sent to all the school buildings on exactly who can enter and what they have to do. But students can actually earn $100, $50, or $75 savings bond. So that's something that certainly they can participate in. The theme for this year's contest is stand back from the yellow and black. So we all know how important it is to keep students back away from that bus at least 10 feet at their bus stop or a school loading zone until that bus comes to a complete stop and we can safely load that bus without any problems. And with that, I'll ask if anybody has any questions I might be able to answer.
I have one question. We talked about the video cameras. How long is that data, how much storage capacity do we have, and how long is that data stored?
I wasn't going to say that, but I'll be happy to say it if you'd like me to.
Well, we don't want to say it.
Okay. We have a number of different systems, and depending on how they're set up, depends on the length of time we can go back. Some go back further than others, but they all go back quite a distance. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Over the next several weeks, we'll be launching an art contest to decorate our boardroom. All of the beautiful drawings that you see in the boardroom this evening belong to students, and they are coming to get them. So, we will commission artwork from our students. We will have the art teachers work along with the principals. Ms. Robinson, Jackie Robinson, will be point on this project for us, and we'll have students submit art from all levels, elementary, middle, and high school. We will then select 2 pieces of art from each level. We will have a prize of $25 for the students who win the contest, because we are going to keep the art permanently in our collection so that we can have a collection that rotates here around our boardroom. So stay tuned, and we'll be looking for board members to help us judge the art. I also wanted to share with the board that I have been invited by the mayor of Southfield to accompany her on a diplomatic mission to Saudi Arabia. The trip is sponsored by the Council of Mayors, and we'll have an opportunity to not only interchange with businesses, but education as well. We will be visiting universities, private schools, and public schools. So I will have a lot to report to you when we get back in November. All expenses are paid by the Council of Mayors, so there will be no expense to the district. And that concludes my report. My cabinet, Ms. Trent?
My report is very short tonight. I just want to let you know that the auditors were on site, and they finished up last week. They were here for about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. I thought maybe I was loud enough. Is that better?
No.
No.
I think I can hear you though.
Okay. The auditors finished up last week, so at this time they have the information. They'll be compiling it, so we will be bringing it to you for the November board meeting.
Thank you. Is that better?
Yes.
Well, I'm smiling this evening because I'm also pleased and excited about our upcoming Saturday school for our K-8 students. It will start this upcoming Saturday, and we have sessions that will begin at 8 o'clock. But we're going to start with a coming an actual meeting with our parents and students on that particular Saturday morning. But we've extended registration, so I would like for all of our parents in the community and board to know that our registration has been extended. It will be Thursday of this week from 12 o'clock until 6 o'clock at our Southfield Educational Center on Mount Vernon. And it also will be held again on Friday from 1 until 6 p.m. at Southfield Education Center. We have tremendous programs for our students tutoring. The languages, Mandarin, Chinese, Japanese. We have video gaming. We have art and dance and various areas for our students to flourish and to build those strengths and skill sets and to expand their awareness and understanding. So we wanted to give parents additional opportunity to join us, register, and we look forward to your children participating. Again, that it starts this upcoming Saturday. I'd like to at this time also bring Marcia to the podium. This past weekend, we launched our College Readiness program, and Marcia is coordinating that for us this year. And I'm excited about what she has planned and what our parents experienced. And we had a good turnout this past Saturday. So thank you, Marcia, for updating us.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am going to just pass around for your perusal the letter that went home along with the session descriptions to our families of high school students in our district. We were very pleased to offer courses on college readiness to all of our students in grades 9 through 12. You might recall that our college readiness program started, was it 2 years ago?
Yes.
2 years ago, but it was open to seniors. And we know that by the time our students get to the 12th grade year, they really should be wrapping up the applications, decisions should be made, and we should be looking forward to them matriculating on to their post-secondary educational choices. So we put together a variety of courses for our families, from just career identification from their interests, as well as for our 9th and 10th graders, introduction to the common application and essay that goes along with that. That is accepted by over 300 colleges and universities from across the country. That includes our historically black colleges and universities, as well as Ivy League colleges. We have essay writing, where our students will be able to begin writing essays, and then the following week bring those essays in and have someone there who will be proofreading and editing. We have NCAA eligibility for our student athletes and their families, and the list goes on and on. The information is on our website. I think you'll be very pleased to find out that we had approximately 180 families registered to participate, and it doesn't mean that they signed up for every Saturday. We actually started this past Saturday, and we have 3 more sessions scheduled for fall. Last Saturday, we had over 80 families, students and their families participate, so they were well attended. Our presenters are not only professionals from Southfield Public Schools, but they're also representing local colleges and universities. So we're very grateful for their support and for the support that we've received from our building administrators. I don't know if anyone has any questions. The parents were very pleased to get this information. I think it made a difference to extend this to our 9th through 11th grade parent and student population. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. And board, at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. George Chapp to the podium, who's going to provide an update for our community and for you of our virtual learning experiences that we have in the district.
Good evening to the members of the board as well as the public. Hopefully everyone can hear me with the microphone. Okay, very good. Over the past year and a half, the district, well really all last year, piloted an online virtual high school. The state allows us the right to be able to enroll students in high school courses, completely online in a virtual environment. This year we went completely active with Southfield Public Schools Virtual High School. And I'll go into a little deeper explanation, all the programs that are a part of that program. But currently we have over 260 students enrolled in some way, shape, or form, either completely longer write with a straight pen and nib, not to mention sharpen their own quills. We parents must not allow them to wallow in such luxury to the detriment of learning how to cope in the real business world, which is not so extravagant. This is from the PTA Gazette, 1875. There's a method to my madness here. Today, students depend upon store-bought ink. They don't know how to make their own. When they run out of ink, they will be unable to write words or ciphers until the next trip to the settlement. This is a sad commentary on modern education. Again, the Royal American Teacher, 1929. Students today depend upon paper too much. They don't know how to write on slate without chalk dust all over themselves. They can't clean a slate properly. What will they do when they run out of paper? Again, Principals Association Journal, 1815. Students today can't prepare bark to calculate their problems. Now, this was something very new to me. They depend upon their slates, which are more expensive. What will they do when their slate is dropped and it breaks? They will be unable to write. I think you get the point. And before I advance to the next slide, online learning is like any other technology platform, whether you talk about pens and quills, slates and ciphers, and chalk dust and all that. Every generation evolves their technology. And as you see here, we no longer are using bark, to calculate numbers or using, quills or pens. But nonetheless, it doesn't mean that technology doesn't evolve. So as technology has evolved, and some of these quotations, online learning is no different. So some other things to consider. When's the last time that you or your child used this? Now, I know we have a few of them around the district, but I don't see many people using them. Again, I'm not disparaging a typewriter, or this. I can just tell you myself, on a personal note, I've not had a landline telephone in 11 years. And over 27% of Americans now only have cell phones as their primary telecommunications device. Or this. I know one of our high school principals is a little offended because he's still curious. I remember having one of these when I was in high school. You could flip around the numbers and say hello. I mean, that was but again, the point being is, again, are any of these devices necessarily bad? No, not at all. At their time, they were cutting-edge technology. They advanced communication. They advanced learning and knowledge. But again, as we march on through time, communication evolves. Again, learning is no different. So, where is your child getting their information today in the 21st century? We focus a lot on Facebook, but you are looking at, and I'm sure the high school representatives know this as well, hundreds of ways. Websites, chat features, infinite ways in which to communicate. So students are learning, but they are learning in a digital world. So, the bottom line is that tech happens. Communication, knowledge, and learning, and connectivity change with the times, but online learning is no exception to that. And so if we want to change with the times, if we want to meet students where they are, which is increasingly in a virtual world, and not to say that virtual learning is for every student, but for a lot of students it is. It provides them a viable means to get an education, to expand their opportunities with courses and concepts and ideas they would have never had the opportunity to be able to experience. And so, again, part of what we're trying to do in the district, not trying, we are doing, is through our virtual university, affording students that opportunity. So, what is online learning at Southfield Public Schools Virtual High School? What does it look like? Again, the environment is teacher-led online courses. For those students that have taken Plato courses, that's what we call prescriptive learning. They're modular-based. They're sort of pre-generated instruction. Again, not a bad way to learn concepts, but our environment, they have teachers that deliver the instruction in real time or near real time. So students have more of a real-time experience with their teacher. Curriculum is high quality, rigorous instruction, is aligned with state standards and benchmarks. Most of our students now are actually experiencing curriculum that is now aligned with the Common Core standards, which was adopted by the State Board of Education. It's portable. Unlike being in a traditional school, school is as close as your internet connection. So it's really where you are, where you want to be. Schedule is still traditional, 6 classes per semester. The fees and the costs are covered by the district, per our per pupil foundation allowance that we capture with students during the academic support, we provide them an academic mentor, counselor in the district. They also have an online advocate through the programs, as well as their online teacher, as well as their own, for students that are attending our highest comprehensive high schools, their own teacher within the classroom. So there's many layers of support for these students. The school year, same as traditional school year. But again, the difference with the programming is all online, and is all virtual. So in terms of where we are as a district at this point, we launched the Southfield Public Schools Virtual High School. The State Department of Education afforded Southfield Public Schools a seat time waiver of our own to operate. We again are we were one of the very first to be awarded by the state. I believe we were number 2. So that's a pretty remarkable thing. Again, these were students that maybe for a myriad of reasons, a traditional high school was not going to work for them, just for various reasons. But again, in the Southfield Public Virtual High School, these students can take AP, online courses, accelerated programming. We also have students that we work with through SRAC and the American Academy. These are students that are more high risk. Students that, again, we're really trying to save and help them, provide them a viable means for getting a high school diploma. And that has been very successful. We have a partnership with the Kiva Hebrew Day School, in which we have tripled the enrollment from those students that are taking at least one online course. Again, these are students that otherwise the district would not capture in terms of state funding, but we are able to do that, and we have a very good partnership with the Kiva. And again, our comprehensive high schools, university as well as university high school, students, according to the law, can take up to 2 online courses per semester. Still remain in the traditional school. That allows the district maximum level of flexibility. We've been able to triple our advanced placement and other specialty course offerings for students that otherwise may not have had that opportunity. And I will talk a little bit more at length about the WAY Oakland program later on. But again, we have entered into another program with Oakland Intermediate School District. They are also providing an online alternative high school program as well. But I know I was asked, to speak a little bit about that later on. So if you have any other information, or sorry, if you need more information, please contact myself, the Division of Instruction. My telephone number is 248-746-4328. If you're looking for more general information about seat time waivers with the state, you can contact Genesee Intermediate School District. And with that, if there are any questions from the board, I would be more than happy to indulge them. Sure.
Recently, I had a parent contact me that her child wasn't doing well in I think it was an advanced placement online class.
Right.
I put her in touch with you. Would you describe the process if students are having difficulty?
Right. We actually have a pretty systematic process in place. If a parent is having a concern about a student in an online course, the parent should obviously, and the student should contact the teacher immediately, whether it be about a textbook or a login issue. And again, these things do happen. It's not perfect. What happens then is that the school administrator brings that to my attention. At that point, I will make contact depending on the nature of the issue. If it's something where the student just cannot get logged in online because it's a technical matter, I'll work with our vendors or our partners to make sure that that's resolved. If it's an issue that is dealing more with the student struggling academically with the course, then there are other ways that we can address that. But again, I work with those parents directly as the main administrator overseeing this program for the district. But there is a lot of support for the program, and we understand that there were, at the beginning of the school year, a few glitches in terms of getting students enrollment. We actually had one of the providers, they had actually their database hacked last week Friday. But again, typically these situations only last a couple minutes, and so on and so forth. It's not perfect, but on the other hand, anytime you have a major evolution in education or in society, you're going to go through a couple of those bumps in the road.
Most of the students accepted to this? Are they learning? Are they having it fun? Most of the students?
Yep. What we end up doing is, for the students that are in the actual full-time online high school program, students that take all their courses online, they have to go through a pretty rigorous process in terms of providing documentation, the traditional things that you would need. But we also do interest inventories. We do technology inventories on the students. They have a mentor that not only by law they has to that, and we do monitor the progress. We are provided weekly updates from the course providers in terms of their academic progress. I hold regular meetings with the online teachers that are servicing our students in the traditional schools or the comprehensive high schools. So right now, we're in a place where we have a good organization, we have a good administration set, but we also realize that as the program evolves, we will need to tweak, make adjustments, calibrate to service the needs of students.
Is that homework requirements online learning as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, it depends on the program. The WAVE program is very different than other types of online learning. Now, all of them involve some level of homework. But again, obviously, if you're taking an advanced placement course, you're going to have a tougher workload in that respect. You're going to. But again, they're interesting. For instance, we have a student that was taking a physical education course online. So someone, parent called, asked the question, how do you do this online?
Right.
Well, the course is part and parcel. You use a Wii Fit. And so they actually have course software where the student's actually working out using the Wii, and this is something that has been used in a multitude of school districts, particularly out west. Arizona, Texas, and Washington State have really kind of been trailblazers in implementing virtual technology as a part of actually helping children reduce obesity rates and diabetes rates. And so they use that kind of technology, they couple it with things that are already in the consumer marketplace, but also bringing in that instructional component. So a program like you think, physical fitness, how do you do that online, it now becomes possible.
And for the information of the board, the state requires that every student take at least one online course before they graduate from high school. So all of our students will have to take at least one.
And the students in Southfield schools will be in compliance with the state by virtue of being in this program. Unless there's any other questions, thank you.
Thank you, George. And that concludes my report.
Good evening, board and audience and everyone else who can walk. Me and this young lady came in together. We shared time through the door, so that was fun. Bringing greetings from HR, marketing, and everything else that's under my realm this evening. We have good news to announce, as we previously announced with regards to our ongoing contract negotiations. I understand this evening we had sessions over at the MEA building with our ESOS group, which are our district secretaries, and we made good, significant headway there as well. I'm hopeful that we'll see a tentative agreement come out of there within the next week, I'd say. So we're hopeful there. We'll begin our negotiations with MESPA very shortly, once we arrange time to sit down and where the locations will be done. And then we'll be done negotiating for a bit of time. The majority of my report is contained in the consent agenda of 5A. And I did want to officially announce to the board, Ms. Jackie Robinson, I know you may have read and saw the employee announcement that came across last week, but she's here today, and I want to have her step to the mic and introduce herself to you all. She plays a very critical role in what's going to be happening in Southfield Public Schools in the very coming future. She's going to be the voice behind our story that's going to be told.
Good evening. How is everyone?
Good evening.
I just want to let you know that I've had a truly wonderful first 3 weeks here at Southfield, and I'm just amazed at the work the administrators and educators do every day. It's so impressive, and I feel honored to be a part of this team. Prior to coming to Southfield Public Schools, I worked as a supervisor and director of operations at Berg, Muirhead & Associates, public relations firm in Detroit, Michigan. And in that capacity, I participated in lots of client activities and led some award-winning accounts for clients such as Detroit Public Schools, Fago, Detroit Department of Transportation, Henry Ford Hospital, the Skillman Foundation, and City of Detroit Mayor's Office, to name a few. So I said all that to say, this has given me a good background and a unique skill set that I'm privileged to share with Southfield Public Schools. I love community engagement. I love media outreach. I enjoy event planning and planning community strategies for public relations campaigns. And so that's where my skill set lies, and I want to bring that to the district. But I want to tell you that the first few weeks have been rather calm. Let me just share with you what I've done. I facilitated the media at 2 events, learned about nearly a dozen other events occurring within the district, fielded a dozen or more requests from community organizations that wanted to advertise in the district, navigated through a few hot-button issues, accommodated requests for more information from the media and the community, helped the superintendent prepare for her trip to Saudi Arabia, solicited a local star for our upcoming celebrity reading program, pitched stories to the press, met with community influencers, met the principals, and met the wonderful people who work here at Southfield Public Schools. So I can tell there's not a lot to do around here. But seriously, in the weeks that are coming, I'm looking forward to developing a strategic communications plan that will help to showcase the work that we are doing here in the district and that will raise the profile of Southfield Public Schools with the media, the community, and our stakeholders. Southfield Public Schools does have a story to tell. It's a great story. Every time I think about the graduation rate, which is more than 90%, I'm not sure where it's at now, but it's more than 90%. 93% are going to college, universities, and to technical schools. That's a story that needs to be told. So I'll be looking at ways of branding the district, making sure our communications materials have the same message, are getting the same focus, looking at new ways of getting our story out, traditional media, but other forms of communication, which may include social media, other platforms, and other forms to do that. And in addition, I'll be working closely with the superintendent for things that are on her heart that she wants to see developed, looking at bringing in partnerships with the media and even with the business community to bring in resources. Every day, I learn something new about this amazing district, and I'm so happy to be a part of this team, and I thank you for having me. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you. And for years, we have been criticized from the community and the business community for us not having the ability to tell our story. And, we're so busy doing the work that, we don't get a chance to thump our chest. So now we have somebody that can actually thump our chest and tell our story for us. So welcome, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Okay. And now we have a report from Ms. Fern Katz from the Head Start program.
There have actually been 3 meetings since the last time I reported to the community about Head Start. But I did not attend one of them. Miss Yolanda Smith did, but it is reported in today's minutes. So the first meeting I'd like to report to you about Head Start Policy Council happened on September 27, 2011. The meeting was called to order by President Sabian Gator at 9:40 a.m. By the way, this is the first time that the Head Start Policy Council has had a male president. Fathers are coming to the meetings and are getting involved. Superintendent Dr. Wanda Cook Robinson commented on the minutes that a teacher was not present at the previous meeting, nor was one present at the current meeting. Principal Ms. Janice Hill said that a teacher representative will be present at the next Policy Council meeting. The minutes were approved. Shireen Barker, the Finance Director, reported that the Head Start Award is $1,294,451. And of that, $196,874 has been spent. The Great Start Readiness Award is $191,200. To date, the in-kind contributions from our partners total about $484,000, and we expect it to be more during the school year. The cost of professional development will come from the Head Start grant itself. There will be a Region 5 conference in October and a National Head Start conference in May. Superintendent Cook Robinson offered to use district dollars to send Head Start staff to the conferences. Head Start dollars will be used to build a storage shed on the playground to store outdoor playground equipment. Head Start approved an expenditure of $6,000. The Head Start enrollment has been 190 students every day, which is what is required by the grant. We are required to have 190 students. We are in complete compliance. Some parents have made complaints that there are still challenges to transportation to Bussey School, and some buses are running empty. Dr. Cook Robinson will follow up with Durham Transportation to resolve the problems. You will see that this has been done. On Tuesday, October 4th, Ms. Hill is planning to give each child a folder to take home. A folder will include the child's name, activities, teachers and parapros names, etc. Anything else having to do with the curriculum. On October 17th, Head Start will have a program, Muffins for Moms with Drinks, and will have resources displayed for moms. In November, Donuts for Dads will happen. Principal Hill and Miss Jones will provide the muffins and donuts. In October, there will be a Head Start Policy Council for parents. The Head Start self-assessment will take place in January. That is one of the reports that's required by the federal government. There are plans to have a safety week to educate parents on correct and safe driving habits in the school parking lot. Classroom volunteers will have to undergo fingerprinting and a background check. Policy Council will meet on Thursday, September 29, to approve hiring and firing of staff. This is also required. All hiring at Bussey Head Start must be approved by the Policy Council. This is required by Head Start and will keep us in compliance. Upon recommendation of Ms. Hill, the appointment of child manager was first voted in and then vacated. The position will be posted on the Southfield Public Schools website today, September 27. The handbooks were tabled until October 11. The election of Head Start officers will be held on October 20. The meeting was adjourned. The next meeting happened this morning, October 11. It was actually the second meeting after that. The meeting was called to order by President Sabian Gator at 9:35 a.m. Guests included Shireen Barker of Southfield Public Schools, finance, she's in finance. Superintendent Dr. Wanda Cook Robinson, former Head Start Principal Vicki Baines Perry, and Associate Superintendent Linda Wood. The minutes of June the 27th and October the 4th were reviewed, corrected, and accepted. At the October 4 meeting, the main course of business was to review the new hires for Head Start and vote to accept or reject them. Hires of teachers, assistant teachers, family service workers, assistant teachers, and family community partnership manager were approved. Parents welcomed teacher Jamal Larkins as the teacher liaison to the Policy Council. Principal Janice Hill reported that the legislators' move to remove people from general assistance resulted in a surge of people applying to Forgotten Harvest for food. Head Start will need to renew the application, and we hope to be allowed to continue to receive food as we did last year. 36 children have dropped from Head Start, 88 are on the waiting list, and Head Start continues to enroll 190 students. The number of students transported to Head Start has risen to 29. The week of October 17 is Bus Safety Week. You heard about that already. Durham will have buses at Bussey at 10 a.m. to help teach the students about bus safety. They will have coloring books and other crowd pleasers to help get the message across. Head Start Awareness Day will be October 27 to celebrate Head Start's birthday. There will be a make and take, a puppet show, a magic show, a librarian to read to the students, Spider-Man to be with the marching band, etc. Stores will be encouraged to put signs in their windows advertising this event. The fire department will bring a simulated firehouse to Bussey the week of the 24th to help teach fire safety. The vision screening at Bussey serviced 101 children. Assistant Principal Jones is working with Children's Hospital on car safety to educate parents. Parents must pre-register to attend the class, which will meet one time per month. And I believe they have promised a couple of car seats to the school. Miss Eileen Storer-Smith, our Head Start advisor, will be at Bussey with 2 trainers from Technical Training Network from Region 5 to give Head Start training for all parents of Head Start students. That is to educate them to the rules of Head Start. Ms. Charlene Barker said we are looking for donations to build our 10 by 12 outdoor shed and to investigate the specifications for the foundation and the rat wall. Actually, the $6,000 we have will probably cover the shed, but it may not cover the foundation. The Great Start Readiness program has a grant of $326,000. The Head Start funds were reported in the last Head Start minutes. There was a comment that the bushes at Bussey are overgrown. Some of the parents have been working on them, and the problem has been addressed by Leslie Smith, who is in charge of the grounds. She says they will be taken care of. Head Start can no longer provide family memberships to the zoo and to Cranbrook. $500 has been allocated for admission on field trips. The Hands-On Museum in Ann Arbor will provide scholarships so that admission for students will be $2. Adults will pay the regular $6.50. A question was asked about a box top program. We will have that information at the next meeting. Dr. Cook Robinson explained the order of people to speak to when investigating perceived problems in the school. All problems should be reported immediately to the principal at Bussey to Principal Hill first. Then, if not satisfied, the parent or whoever should report the problem to Miss Linda Wood, who is sitting over here. And finally, if not settled, problems should go to Dr. Cook Robinson. A parent asked, what is the role of the Policy Council in job descriptions at Head Start? We were reminded by former Head Start principal Vicki Baines Ferry that the job descriptions were approved at a Head Start meeting in May. The next Head Start meeting will be November 8th. The Head Start election will be October 20th. Eileen Storer-Smith will conduct a training for parents on October 17 and 18. The meeting was adjourned around 11 o'clock a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Katz. Okay. Cool. Now we move into board, but we don't have any unfinished business, so we go right to the action items. At this time, we'll take a motion to open and approve report 5015, report 5A, the consent agenda. So moved. Moved and supported. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Secretary, call for the vote. Trustee Poole?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Trustee Lewis?
Yes.
Madam Vice President?
Yes.
Mr. President? Yes. Unanimous, Mr. President. Thank you. And with that, we just paid our bills to the tune of about $7.6 million for the month. Take a motion to open and approve report 5016, the naming of professional services.
I move we open report 5015. 5016.
Moved and supported. Ms. Trapp, could you give us some background, please?
Yes. Back in July at our organizational meeting, we asked you to approve IDS as our architectural firm of record. And as you know, that we're still looking at some very dire economic times coming up in the future. So what we've been doing is looking at every area as it comes up. So with that in mind, we had a meeting with an architectural firm called Shaw Group. They were started by Marjorie Simmons in Berkeley, Michigan. She's grown the company to a nationwide firm that now has 8 different offices and over 250 professional staff. What we did is we had them come in and met with them, went over the way they do business, and we also had them give us like a preliminary estimate on some ongoing things that we have coming up. Their estimates were very competitive. So what what we would like to do is have the board approve them as a second architectural firm so that in the future we can get competitive bids.
So IDF is still listed,
Yes,
and then we're just adding a second firm.
right, we would use both.
If I could just add, Debbie, since she's been in the position as our Chief Financial Officer, has really given a sharp eye and a sharp pencil to folks when they come in. And it was her suggestion that we start to look at other firms so that in the spirit of competition and quality, we can start to look at where we can save. So I want to compliment her. She looked at several bids and moved them back and said, you got to come back a little sharper than that. And I think she shocked a few folks that it was well done.
Are there any questions? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, would you call for the vote?
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Poole?
Yes.
Trustee Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Madam Vice President?
Yes.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, thank you. We come now to information items, and these are just items that don't require a vote from the board, but we did want to have them discussed in public and put on the record. The first is report 50-17, is the WAY, the Way Oakland Program for Intergovernmental Agreement. Ms. Wood, could you, Ms. Chapman, give us some background, please? Thank you.
Good evening to members of the board. I wanted to take a few moments, not minutes, to go over the intergovernmental agreement that was signed by Dr. Cook Robinson between Oakland Intermediate School District and Southfield Public Schools. In August of 2011 this year, Vicki Markovich, the superintendent of schools for Oakland schools, made a proposal to bring a program called WAY, Widening Advancements for Youth, to Oakland County. Now, WAY is, again, an online learning program, but as I mentioned in my prior presentation, is very unique and very different than, I guess you want to say, traditional or more regular online learning programs. It was established in Great Britain about approximately 15 years ago, and has been expanded, throughout the world. It's a global program. There are actually now programs in Washtenaw County, Clio Public Schools in Clio, Michigan, and to be very honest with you, the program for WAY was actually stealing kids from Oakland County. They were going to Washtenaw County, they were going to Clio, they were going to other places, and that affected us as well. So what Oakland schools did was to present this proposal to public school districts in Oakland County to consider. And so I just want to go very briefly explain what the WAY program is. Again, it's fashioned around the Washtenaw ISP initiative. It's a program that's online, but it's project-based alternative high school. So students, instead of enrolling for, say, geometry, first, second semester traditional course, they'll actually pick a topic or pick a subject that is of interest to them, and then they begin utilizing academic concepts from the sciences, social studies, English language arts, learning, but also making meaning by doing. And so they're considered to be researchers. They submit these projects to persons that are called experts. They are individuals at WAY International that independently evaluate this work. In the meantime, they are assigned to a mentor teacher, but it's limited at 6 students to 1 mentor teacher. And so the reason why they have that mentor teacher in place is that they can be an unbiased person of assistance to these students, to guide them through their academic experience, but not being the person that's directly grading them on the work. So, like I said, it's a pretty unique program. So how would this program actually benefit Southfield Public Schools? Well, it benefits students and it benefits the district in immeasurable ways. Students, again, for students that may be in need of technology, for instance, that otherwise might not have access to this. The WAY program provides a Mac desktop computer as well as internet access for these students. It's part of the actual program itself. They are provided a mentor as well as access to computer and technology labs through the OTech campuses in Oakland schools. So again, that's another enhancement that they receive. Students are identified, and this is where it really benefits the district more so. be able to force a reduction in costs. The program is still $6,500 a year per student. That is the total charge to Oakland schools. But what that also does is it allows us to keep the remaining funds from the FTE or the Per Pupil Foundation grant. That comes back directly to the district because a student is counted as one of our own, even though they're in the Oakland ISD's program. They're counted as ours. And again, a couple other features there of note. The way Oakland and Oakland schools, they provide all the administrative, all the compliance, and regulatory oversight for this program. We do not have to hire another administrator. Maybe that's not good for me. But on the other hand, it really is a benefit to the district because they have assumed the liability for attendance, count day, for procurement of instructional resources, materials, textbooks, technology. They, more or less, they run the program. And I can tell you on a personal note, I know several members of the staff personally through my experiences when I was a social studies teacher and working in other professional organizations in the state. Dr. Michael Yoakum, they hired some top-notch people to run this program. I cannot say enough positive things of the individuals that are launching this program. They are incredible. And I actually talked with the program manager this evening. I was asking him to come here and speak. He's actually meeting with students tonight until 9 o'clock because that's when their parents can meet with them. So it really is a program that is for students that are in need of an alternative education setting, but also maybe an alternative educational path. It's a little different than what we offer, but again, it fits into that spectrum, that portfolio of learning, not just online, but everything that we can offer in this district. And it also helps us to expand course offerings for our students and opportunities, but also, frankly, it also helps us recapture or maintain student enrollment that otherwise we would not have. So, again, that's a little bit about the actual agreement. If there are any other questions, I'll be more than happy to take them now. Yes, sir.
Is WAY an acronym?
It is.
And what is it?
Widening Advancements for You. And Oakland Schools is very busily trying to get their website together for WAY Oakland. I was informed, so I was trying to get actually a printout of that for you this evening. It's not up yet, but it will be up very, very soon. But if you want to actually get a little bit more in-depth understanding of the WAY program itself, you can actually just Google WAY. It'll come right up. And then also, this program was modeled off the Washtenaw Intermediate School model, their Westwood and Crestwood Cyber School. If you're looking for a little more information as to how this program is structured. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next we have report 5018, which is a purchasing report. These items meet the threshold being more than $5,000, less than $25,000. So it doesn't require any action by the board for these type of purchases. And it's included in the agenda, so anybody that needs to read that information and really needs to sleep 8 tonight, you can take a look at that.
That's exciting stuff.
It really is. Yeah, it is. I know. Next we have report 5019, electrical service for the buses. And I did want to have Ms. Trump talk about that.
I'm going to have Dennis Gregory explain that to us.
No, none of these require it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Currently, our bus system, we currently have approximately 90 diesel buses. All these buses are required to be plugged in nightly as soon as the weather gets freezing or below. There's another way of doing this. If you had an onboard heater, which we don't have on any of our buses, auxiliary heater, I should say, that would fire up in the middle of the night. It's a very high expensive item, and we don't have any of those because there's a lot of problems with them. So currently all of our buses need to be plugged in. Our current system that's mounted in-ground in the bus yard behind JWE here is well over 20 years old. It's a system that wasn't designed for the number of buses we currently have. It was designed for about half that many buses. The system has been added on to ground, like you say. We've had many problems with wires shorting on it, and consequently knocking out a bus plug that normally would be active, makes it neutral, which doesn't activate the bus heater. We cannot afford to have our buses not start on cold mornings. In the past, and currently, Durham does bring in the mechanics early when the weather gets to be 10 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, and they do start the buses up. But the key to starting a diesel bus is that engine has to turn over fast enough in order to fire it, because it doesn't have spark plugs. So when the engine is cold, the oil is thick, all the iron, the metal inside there is cold, it turns over very slowly. It doesn't allow it to fire. So we need to upgrade our system. Like I say, it is well over 20 years old. There's a lot of issues with it, and we're constantly repairing it to keep it going. But once again, it is in dire need. Any questions?
So what's our plan?
Our plan is we do have a preliminary list of specifications for it. We would like to send it out for bid and see what the bids come in at.
So we'll be bringing something to the board soon?
Yes. Yes, we'd like to have this in place before cold weather hits.
Before I have to make that call?
Yes.
Dennis talks to me on snow days at about 3 in the morning, and he's wide awake and I'm dead.
Then Wanda talks to us at about 5.
Yes, I do.
And then us.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Report 5020 has already been gone through the gift to Stevens Elementary from Officer Max. So now we come to the public participation portion of the meeting. Comments are generally limited to 3 minutes. The board will listen to all comments and may not respond during the meeting. Comments may be referred to an administrator or the superintendent for follow-up. As a matter of fairness, speakers with complaints against individuals are asked not to mention persons by name. Complaints concerning employees should be brought to the attention of school principals or other administrators before coming to the board. Your cooperation is appreciated. When your name is called, please step to the microphone and give us your address. And we have Michelle Rosen.
Good evening. Good evening. Michelle Rosen, address is 20155 Brookshire, Southfield, Michigan, 48076. Just under a year ago, I came before this board to express my discontent with the online learning program. While Mr. Chapp has done his absolute best to help my classmates and I, the fact remains that our primary grievances were unable to be addressed, and many of us finished out the school year feeling as though we'd regressed in our subjects. So it's understandable that I was hesitant to enroll in any online classes this year. However, since AP Physics and AP Calculus are pretty much standard at the schools I'm applying to, I conceded after being promised that the program would be run better. So you can imagine my disappointment when, 3 weeks into the new school year, I still had not received any login information for my classes, and now, 6 weeks into the school year, at the end of the first card marking, I still don't have my textbook. Online AP Chemistry has neither their textbooks nor their lab kits, and AP Sociology hasn't even gotten their logins yet. Speaking of not having proper materials for the course, the exams that we have to take at school often freeze because the obsolete technology we're provided with is apparently incapable of handling basic JavaScript in a web page. I never encountered this issue at home, but as I said, these exams have to be taken in class. Now, I'm not so much upset by the fact that I've been continuously lied to by Southfield Public Schools, so much as the district's failure to provide me with a real education. Beyond the disorganized facilitation of the online program, the company itself has little, if anything, to do with learning. I made it clear last year that the instructors seem to have no concept of how to teach, and this is evident this year as I've never received any sort of communication from my physics professor. Worse than the teachers themselves is the flawed and inconsistent material. I have examples if you need them, but the point here is that the test material contradicts the reading material. In fact, I've contacted my calculus professor multiple times pointing out inconsistencies, and she's informed me that the material she taught was, in fact, incorrect. That's fine if I find out before the test. But in a class where 100% of the final grade is based on test scores, it's not so helpful to find out after the exams that what I was taught was wrong, yet I'm still being marked down for it. And the company can't seem to avoid technical issues. Last week, for example, we were unable to access our classes because the domain apparently didn't exist. It's irresponsible. I believe that learning from one's mistakes is a very important virtue, and I thought that it was pretty obvious from the experience last year that this program is a mistake. The excuses I received for this disorganized incompetence and blatant mishandling of my education are mediocre at best. I feel sorry for the kids next year that are going to have to take online gym or online lunch. I wonder how many of the taxpayers know they're only paying you to privatize our teachers and outsource their kids' education.
What I will share is that I've only received one complaint, and that was about academic content, of which Mr. Chapp is working with. So I would encourage you to talk with Mr. Chapp and to see if we can't get these things handled, but this is the first that I'm hearing of it. No, Mr. Chapp will, and he's still here in the meeting, so when we adjourn, we'll have Mr. Chapp meet with us.
Okay, we now come to board matters where board members have the opportunity to share with the community input. So, are there any things that the board would like to share?
Yes, I can find it. Yes, I would like to share without comment what's been happening in Lansing for the benefit of those of you who are listening in the audience and those of you who are at home. First off, I'd like to talk about the Senate Bill 729, the so-called Right to Work Bill for School Employees Clarification, the so-called Right to Work for School Employees Bill, SB 729, states that it would only apply to unions. You know what right to work is? Raise your hand if you know what that means. Not everybody. Okay. Right to work means that if an employee is hired by a district that is unionized, that employee has the option to not join the union and pay dues. The current law says that if an employee is hired in a district with a union, that employee has the option not to join the union, but must pay the dues because that employee is receiving the benefits for which the union has bargained. So the current law would now give the employee the option to not join the union and not pay dues. So that bill would only apply to unions that represent 50,000 or more members in public school districts. It happens that there is only one union in the entire state that has more than 50,000 members, and that is the Michigan Education Association. So you may come to your own conclusions about that. There was a victory as far as this presenter is concerned with Senate Bill 618, one of the 7-bill charter schools package. This bill, sponsored by Phil Pavlov, Republican of St. Clair, lifts the cap on the number of university-chartered schools. The bill originally carried a provision that would allow school districts to privatize instructional staff. That means teachers. That provision was removed from the bill to privatize teachers. However, the rest of the bill, to lift the cap on charter schools, did pass 20 to 18. What that will do is there are 150 charter schools chartered by universities now. If it lifts the cap, there will be more. Now, in Southfield, we have 18 charter schools. In Oakland County, In Oakland County, there are 18 charter schools. 9 of them are in Southfield. And the money goes with the child. The foundation allowance for each child goes with the child. So if the child is in a charter school, the charter school gets the money, not the other public schools. Okay, and I would like to tell you that Bluefield Hills has passed a resolution proposing 6 charter school amendments. I have it here somewhere if anybody wants to see it. But I intend to speak to the members of this board to see if we can't pass such a resolution as well. It doesn't carry any legal weight. That's what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Mr. Poole.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a few other comments as well. Because our job is getting a lot harder as we sit here and speak. Due to the recent census, we lost a congressional seat due to population loss. It appears that Congressman Gary Peters is out of district. We've gone from 15 down to 14. And probably what affects this community more so than anything is the fact that we now become a part of the 14th congressional district. Okay. So leadership is going to become important. We need strong leaders that are pro-education. Education in the state of Michigan, as well as all over the country, is becoming extremely competitive. More so here in the state of Michigan. You're seeing more educational reform probably than any other state in the country. We need you to vote November 8th. Polls open at 7 o'clock. And they're open till 8 p.m. If you're in line by 8 p.m., you can vote. We need you to stand up and be counted. We need your support in this area. As we sit here and listen to your concerns, we're also advocating for you in Lansing and in Washington as well. And one thing I've learned over the last 2 years sitting on this board is there's very few people in Washington that can get things done, let alone make anything happen. So come November 8th, Tuesday, make sure you vote. We're down to 14 congressional districts in the state of Michigan. We're now becoming a part of the 14th. We have a current leader, I think his name is John Conyers Jr., who sits on the 14th. I understand that he's going to, or his office has told me that he's going to run in the 13th. So we've got a void there. We need to find some tried, true leadership. It's important. We're now part of the 14th. And this is the first time that I can remember that we've had a congressional district cross county lines. So that tells you about the amount of population that we've lost since the last census. Now, I'm not convinced that we've lost all that population, because apparently most of the population loss has been in Wayne County. And I believe there were a lot of people that didn't stand up to be counted in this last census because of unemployment, because of job loss, because of foreclosure, and the shame that goes with it. It shouldn't be any shame. It wasn't their fault. So, November 8th, definitely come out and vote. If you don't vote, you don't count. And I'd like to bid my colleague, Rance Williams, the best of luck on November 8th. That's all I've got.
Ron, yes.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Ms. Kess and Board Member Poole for those comments, and I hope that they didn't fall on deaf ears, that we'll take action on those items. I just wanted to point a little spotlight on something a little closer to home, which is in each one of our buildings, we have phenomenal teachers and principals. I think everyone up here would agree.
Absolutely.
And a parent said to me at a Head Start Policy Council meeting that maybe parents could be a little more thankful for those principals and teachers. So my little sub-message here is tomorrow and every day that you encounter a teacher or a principal, just tell them you appreciate their work and that it actually matters to you. And that's all. Thanks.
That's an excellent message. Because, you know, throughout all of this, the teachers are being made to be bad guys in the state of education in this country, and that's not the case. And I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I think that we have to be very cognizant of the fact that, you know, we're being pitted one against the other. and it's not helping us to do our jobs as board members and enabling our teachers to get the resources that they need in order to do the phenomenal job that they do, especially here in Southfield. So, one of the things that what I wanted to speak on was just tone. Just the tone. If you look around, it seems like just the tone of conversation, the rhetoric, both coming from a political standpoint and just it's ratcheted up so high. It's got everybody at such a feverish pitch that it's very hard for us to, make sense of the messages that are coming to us, because they're coming to us in such a vile manner. I'm just going to add that everybody, that's listening, we have issues, we have problems that we have to work on, and we understand that. But let's tone it down a little bit. I mean, it's been, a difficult start to the school year. We've had a lot of incidents with parents coming in, just the general tone has been such that it doesn't foster cooperation when you're screaming at people. We understand that you have an issue. We're dealing with, the most important person in your life, and we understand that. We know that. But at the same time, these people don't wake up in the morning trying to figure out, how am I going to, take something away from your child or give your child less than what they deserve? That's not what this district is about. It's not what this community is about. This community is very much about supporting children, families. If you look around and all the things that are offered here in Southfield, it's all about children in this community. So take the time to, come in, tone it down, and let's get to what the issue is that you have to deal with without all of the other things that go along with that. So let's everybody just step back and just tone it down a little bit. Yes, Ms. Katz.
Yes, before we close, I'd like to introduce Mr. Sabian Gator, who is president of the Head Start Policy Council, sitting in the back.
And I want to thank you, too. I mean, it's so important for the dad to have a role in children's education. I think that that's something that's seriously missing. Our children have to know that the fathers value education as well. You do make a difference. You don't always have to understand everything that they're doing, but they have to know that you have, value for education, and that's the start. A lot of parents act like, and I said this before, they treat the schools like the barbershop. You want to drop your kid off. When I pick my kid up, I want his hair cut a certain way. Well, when they drop him off at school, when I pick him up, I want them to be reading, writing, and doing all the things. That's not how it goes. The school district furthers what you start at your dinner table. I hope everybody hears that. It starts at your dinner table. So the conversations that you have with your children, how was your day? What did you learn today? It's just as simple as that. So,
if you don't mind, if I can say something.
Just come up to the microphone, please.
For the record, I want to say that being the chairperson at Busby Head Start is a wonderful thing, wonderful experience. I also want to say that I appreciate the staff here, the support, that we're in this together, and we all have an interest in this. It's our future, our seed, our children, and we take care of them now, we educate them now, they will take care of us later. It's like a big circle, and we all on the same, same team. We had a meeting today, and I told some of the policy council members, but my brothers, we've been together and know each other for years, and we're not kids, and here we are starting school where everybody has the same interest, and we're getting on that same radio frequency, and things like that happen with disagreements but that's part of life, and it's good that us as people, that we, and adults, that we work it out in a fashionable way that's going to benefit everyone, and it's
children. I just want to say that this school board, we have one of the top school boards, I believe, in the nation, and it's working. And as long as we together, we stay together, and we all stay on the same path, there are going to be some great things, and there are great things happening, but it's just going to continue to come out. We're going to generate it. And I just want to say, I want to thank Ms. Yolanda, Ms. Wanda, Dr. Wanda, Ms. also Fern Katz. Thank you for coming to the meetings. Your support, your insight, your expertise, it's a blessing. And, you know, as a father that, not only, you know, as a father, but also as a citizen of Southfield, in this day and age right now, we need each other more than ever before. And I just want to say that, hey, we all in the same community, and, you know, we're moving forward. We're going to keep generating this positive energy, and we're going to transfer it to the children, and we're going to move on. So, you know, I got one thing I just want to say, you know, we're going to lead, and if there's any way, you're going to get ran over, okay? No, but seriously, no, I do want to thank you, and I appreciate every last one of you here. Okay?
Thank you. And just one last thing. One of the most important things that was stated is that, you know, it's for the children. And understand, as we're communicating, and don't think the children are not paying attention to all of this. They're paying attention to the political rhetoric. They're seeing how you interact with other adults. You know, we are their example for life. They're watching us. So we're teaching them by the way that we conduct ourselves. So it's real important that we all keep that in mind. Let's dial it down. Let's bring back that level of respect that you know, we all grew up with. And I think if we bring that back, we'll all be better for it. Okay, future meetings. Student hearings will be on October 25th. We have a study session on November the 3rd, and on October the 11th, it's got to be November the 8th, which will be our next regular board meeting. Okay, and with that, this meeting of the Southfield Board of Education is